also gone ahead and just balanced my image a little bit. Now, why do we use our CST downstream instead of upstream? You're going to find out in the end of this training, okay? I have a whole section where I'm going to talk about that, so stay tuned for that. Let's move on here, and we're going to create a new layer by hitting Option S. Over here, we're going to right click and say Add Node Layer Mixer, okay? And this is what you get. So the way you want to think about a layer mixer is that anything that's on the bottom is basically on top. It absolutely makes no sense, but this is how it is, okay? So whatever we do here takes precedent, and think of it as like it's a layer on top, okay? And let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's say we want to isolate the color yellow and blue and then make the rest of this image black and white, sort of like a Sin City effect. So it's really easy to do, and I'm also going to show you another really cool technique to do that. So instead of like you going under qualifier and doing it by hand, let's do it an easier way. Go under color, presets, and in here, I'm just going to select 6 vector blue. And then we're going to click right here, say add node, and then go create another layer mixer, bring it down here. And now we're going to go back under color, presets, and we're going to say select yellow. So we have selected yellow and blue, and you're going to see how effective and how good this selection is in a second. Okay, now I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go under my RGB mixer, and I'm going to hit monochrome to just make it black and white. And now if I move over and come right here, I mean, just look at the results that we just got. So if I turn this on and off, like look how it's just grabbing the blue, and now it's just grabbing the yellow. Now, obviously you can go in and perfect it, but for it to just give you this result right off the bat is literally mind-blowing. So that's one way to use your layer mixer. Now let's check out the second example, which is going to be this. So I've already gone ahead and set this up because I just showed you how to use layer mixer. In this case, I want to create a bleach bypass effect. I want to create a cool look really fast. So it can be done just in 2 steps. Right click here, go under composite mode, and in here, select overlay. As soon as you do that, just see the kind of look it created for us right off the bat. Obviously, it's too pushed. So we're going to do 2 things here. I'm going to go under, once again, in my monochrome and click on monochrome. And look at this. Remember I told you what's underneath is on top? Because this node is not desaturated, it is still pulling through. Because we did a composite, we're basically doing 50-50 between these 2 nodes. So this is completely black and white, but it's still not 100% black and white. Our image still retains some color because of this node right here. So another thing that I'm going to do up here is open up the contrast just a tiny bit. So I'm going to go under my contrast and pull it back a little bit, not too much. So even something like this. And at that point, if I turn this on and off, like look at the kind of style we created just by doing this. And now it could be as simple as this. I can go in here, go under my gain, and start adding a little bit more warmth just to kind of create, you know, a Queen's Gambit sort of color palette. And if I just hold it right there and I just show you what we created, take these genuinely in 2 steps and look at how clean this grade is and how easy it was. That is the power of the layer mixer. Let's move on to our other type of node. Number 2, parallel mixer. Generally used to blend in multiple corrections by using windows or qualifiers. So let's look at this example right here. Let's say we're going for a fall look. So we're going to make everything in the back really, really warm. And then we're going to try to pull her skin and get some of this red out. Okay. So first of all, we're just going to grab everything in the background. So I'm going to go ahead, make my selection, hit Shift H, and then let's go in and add more width. And then at this point, we can just go and add more denoise. Blur, denoise, I can bring it down to like 10-ish. I think we should be good here. And now let's hit Shift H. I'm going to take my gamma and I'm going to start pulling in that warmth. Okay, so I'm just really going to go. So maybe we park it somewhere around here. So if I do before and after, that is a really, really push look. And I can actually see my key. So let's denoise it even more. So it's like now it's much better. All right. So extremely, extremely pushed, and it's going to hold through. So if we go through, like you can see, that latches on, and we created a really, really insane look. Now that we did that, let's create a new node. And here we were going to grab her skin, remember? So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to hit Shift H, and whoa, what is going on? If I add my width, like what is this? This is happening because we're borrowing information from a node prior, which is this, which is very close to her skin. And that's why this is the wrong idea. So I'm going to go ahead, delete that. I'm going to right click here. I'm going to go back into my nodes, and I'm going to select parallel node. And if you can see the links, it tells you the entire story. If I hit Shift H, now we got this node creating this effect. And if I click on our new node, it is borrowing information from this node right here. So we have the most separation, meaning if I go and grab her skin now, we're not going to run into that issue that we were facing before. And now we can just go ahead and like really blur this out by adding denoise, Shift H again. And now I can go in and just add a bit more yellow than like all this magenta that was in her skin. So barely any change, but that's what we were looking for. And we were able to grab the clean key instead of like what was going on before. So same rule applies to power windows. You don't want to have one after another. You want to stack them up in the same fashion so everything stays pretty clean. Number 3, outside node. It basically inverts the selection of the previous node, windows, qualifiers, etc. And I've already gone ahead and just did a base grade on my image so we can just focus on this particular node. So say you want to create a quick vignette, right? So you're going to go ahead, create something like this, a shape, move it around, maybe extend it to something like that, and then you would feather it out and invert it because we want to bring the exposure down on the outside so our eyes can focus where the action is happening. So I'm going to take my gamma, I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to keep it somewhere around here. So usually that's what you would do, right? And now if you want to create a new node and another shape, you will create a new shape and then go from there. But the beauty of the outside node is that you can just right click here, go under add node, and then you can just select add outside node, and look what it's doing. It's taking the key information, meaning it is taking the information from the shape of this and inverting it. So if I hit Shift H, you can see what it's doing. If I go to our initial node, remember we created a vignette, we inverted it so we can affect the outside. When we go to the outside, it is basically doing the opposite. It's leaving everything that this node is grabbing and it's inverting it. Right? So this is very useful because now we can come in here. This is our hero, right? So we can do a bunch of different things. I'm just going to give you an example. I'm going to do some exaggerative changes so you can really see what's going on. So even like saturation, if I bring this down, just to once again show you what we're doing. And this is dynamic, okay? So if I hit Shift H and go back here and move this window around, look what happens. When I go here, our changes move with it. So this is sort of like a null object in After Effects, and it's like this is a parent node, and then this is acting as a child. So if I bring this back over here again and go here, see, now our focus is borrowed by this node right here. So I use it all the time because it is so quick. Number 4, key mixer. This will help you combine multiple keys to apply a global correction through a single node. So let's put it to work. I'm going to go ahead and hit Option S to create a new node, and then just right click in this area, say add node, key mixer. The purpose of this node is simple. I'm going to take the key output from node number 3 and plug it in here. I'm going to take the key output from node number 4 and plug it in here. Then let's take the output from the key mixer and attach it to node number 6. And now if I hit Shift H, you will see exactly what's going on. So it's taking the data from node number 3 and 4, combining it. So hence the key mixer. So now what we can do is I can go under saturation, crank that up. I can go under my gain and bring that up. And I'm doing that, I'm exaggerating the changes so you guys can see exactly what's going on. So look at this blue, look at this yellow, like we're exaggerating it. And instead of like individually making these changes, which will take twice as long, we were able to do that in one move. So that's the beauty of a key mixer. Moving on to another extremely powerful node, splitter combiner node. It creates a 3-node parallel mixer by isolating RGB color channels per node. That's a mouthful. Let's check out what I'm talking about.